In a bid to ensure victory at the July 16th gubernatorial polls in Osun State, southwest Nigeria, the People's Democratic Party's Reconciliatory Committee for Lagos and Osun States has submitted an interim report to the National Working Committee of the party in Abuja. A former gubernatorial candidate of the party in Ondo State and chairman of the committee, Eyitayo Jegede, expresses confidence that the party will emerge victorious in the upcoming poll, following the truce brokered among party stakeholders in the state.
We are hopeful that the two parties have agreed that they were going to work together for the interests of the PDP. We were also able to extract commitments from all the sides that the only way to achieve success is if we have a united front. That united front, by the grace of God, is what we have worked on, and we also have recommended that the National Working Committee should also follow up and show more interest in what is happening in Osun State, because Osun State is doable for the PDP. In fact, the majority of the people in Osun State are expecting that come by the grace of God, 16th of July, the APC government will exit the government house.
Even though there is no election in Lagos, since part of your assignment is Osun and Lagos, I want you to take this opportunity, just like you did Osun, to hit the ground in Lagos. I believe this is the type of expectations we will want our members of various committees that have been settled with various assignments from this NWC. So, once again, thank you very much.
And a man with what some would call the toughest job as it stands right now. Eyitayo Jegede, the chairman PDP Reconciliation Committee, joins us now in the studio to really have a conversation. Of course, it's not restricted to Osun State, but also to Lagos State, talking about your committee. But we'll get to Lagos. But let's focus on the fact that your committee was inaugurated barely 8 weeks ago. And so far, going by your reports that you submitted today, at least part one, like you called it, you say you've been able to get the two warring factions to sheath their sword and actually chart a way forward. Do you think that will be enough to really, get the victory in Osun State?
Well, I think that is important and it is key. I come into this with a lot of experience because I've gone through it before. I was a candidate in Ondo State, and I know that we had issues, problems, internal problems. And I've always said this, that APC is not capable of defeating PDP. It's only PDP that defeats PDP. So if you are united and focused, and you identify who the adversary is, it is easy to win an election. And in Osun State, it is quite achievable, it is doable, because the people are there and they're ready and they're willing to support the PDP. So I believe that a cohesion of the contending forces and a clear focus can make a lot of difference.
Despite the fact that you're going up against an incumbent?
Well, there's nothing new about an incumbent. In your state, we had incumbents, and then Governor Sheyi won election. 33 local governments, it was able to rake in 29 local governments. There's this hype about incumbency. Incumbency, yes, it comes with a lot of advantages, but does not mean that an incumbent government cannot be taken out. Yes.
It's interesting that you have this view that only PDP can defeat PDP, and you yourself have had a personal experience.
Oh yes.
So, because when you look at the issues in both Osun and Lagos states, they have a common denominator, and that's the primaries that were conducted.
Sure.
So, what does that say about the PDP's internal democracy, and what does it say about the ability of your party to produce leaders?
Well, I think it's only when you have a viable party that is capable of winning an election that you have such contention as you have within PDP in Osun and in Lagos. And again, it has to do with our readiness to also accept where there's a defeat and move on with what is left. The truth of it is that the PDP runs a democratic system, and there are also internal mechanisms. That does not stop those who are hurting to ventilate their grievance. And some do ventilate it softly, some ventilate it violently. And in both cases, it has its effect on the party. It is not the fault of the leadership of the party. It has to do also with our readiness to concede and say, look, there's a defeat. And even where you think that there's some little bit of unfairness, you wait and fight another day.
Right.
I just wanted to ask you, what has happened to the Wale Ojo faction in Osun State and the court cases? Is everyone out of court?
No, no. We're trying to ensure that the parties who are in court step out of court. That is a process. And the other side, the side that is in court, will also want some concessions given to them, which is fair. Now, the other side also wants all those cases pulled out. Now, you have to manage it properly. And what we have done is to extract concession on the part of the two contending forces, that no matter what, at this point in time, let's be focused on winning the election. The courts are there to resolve differences. But because under the PDP constitution, there's a grievance procedure, you allow the party structure to resolve the differences. Where they cannot, you can proceed to court. But in the instant case, yes, people are in court even before now. As we speak, there are matters that are there that are on appeal already. But then in principle, you can see that parties have slowed down in respect of litigations. And because it can be a distraction. You go to court today, you say you don't become friends after you have gone to court. But the truth of it is that you have to balance the two.
Okay.
Yes.
Balancing the two is quite important. And you know what? Let's really stick with Osun for a hot second here, because some analysts would say, since the presidential candidates of not just the PDP this time around, but of all political parties emerged, not a lot of attention has actually been given to offshoot elections, such as what we saw in Ekiti State and now Osun State coming up in a matter of days. So what are the strategies that the PDP is looking to come up with to really unseat the APC in Osun State? And I speak about presidential candidate. Yours is not even in the country. Neither are we seeing any major campaign for your candidate in Osun State.
By INEC timetable, the actual campaign has not started. And I think that's important for us to know. Again, you should also know that we're coming from a background of a hot contest of primaries. A good number of the aspirants before the convention were on the road. I can tell you that Governor Wike was on the road for addressing delegates in 3-4 states in one day. Atiku Abubakar was on the road addressing delegates in about 4 states in one day, and driving throughout the night. So sometimes you need to take a rest. And then most of the time also, when you're out of the country, it is not that you have gone on tourism events, but again, that you need to go and re-energize and plan on how to start the new step of elections, which is of campaigns, which is going to come up as soon as INEC says, look, you can hit the road. Okay.
I think Amaka was referring to the Osun State elections, but we have to leave this conversation here. Thank you so much, Mr. Eyitayo Jegede.
Thank you very much.
Former gubernatorial candidate of the PDP in Ondo State, and of course a member of the PDP.
And
thank you so much.
Of the Reconciliation Committee for Lagos.
All right.